So Oscar Piastri has a 10-point lead in the Drivers' Championship right now. It's still tight between him and Lando Norris, but personally, I am backing Piastri to get the job done and become McLaren's first driver champion since Sir Lewis Hamilton back in 2008. I just think he has a bit of an edge over Lando Norris overall, but it's going to be tight between the two of them. I feel like Max Verstappen now, that gap between him and Piastri is too much. I think it's 49 points. So it's going to be a papaya driver who is eventually picking up that winner's trophy at the FIA prize-giving gala at the end of the year. And 3 other Formula 1 stars have also predicted that Piastri will be champion in 2025. Who and what have they said? Let's find out on the F1Chronicle.com, guys, as always. 3 former F1 drivers agree that Oscar Piastri has become the clear favourite to win the 2025 World Championship. Red Bull and the driver himself beginning to acknowledge that Max Verstappen beating the dominant McLaren is now unlikely. The contest is slowly becoming a clear Piastri versus Lando Norris affair. Christian Klein, a former Jaguar and Red Bull driver, is impressed with the 24-year-old's poise and speed this year. We mustn't forget that Piastri is only in his 3rd season in Formula 1, he is quoted as saying by motorsporttotal.com, and yet he is demonstrating incredible composure. He's also a very fast learner, which you can clearly see in comparison with Norris. Lando is an incredibly fast driver, but under the pressure of Piastri, he is gradually falling apart. I think that's a little harsh. Lando's, I wouldn't say gradually falling apart. I think that's a bit much, but I still do favour Piastri over a full season. In conversation with Bild newspaper, another F1 star, David Coulthard, was asked if he agreed with the statement that Piastri and Verstappen appear cut from the same cloth, cold and ruthless in contrast to the cuddly Norris. Don't you just want to go up and give Lando Norris a hug? You wouldn't want to do that with Piastri now, would you? Why would you want to do that? Lando learned a lesson from last year's World Championship battle, the Scot replied. I think he's becoming mentally stronger, and there's no doubt that he's fast. The stopwatch doesn't lie. But the mental side of it is a constant topic for him because he's so open about it. Those who share a lot also get asked a lot. Oscar does what Kimi Räikkönen and Mika Häkkinen did, stay silent. Coulthard, however, disagrees with the German newspaper that the 2025 title is now a 3-way battle between Norris, Piastri and Verstappen. I don't have a crystal ball, he said, but I think Max has been seeing it as a one-on-one battle since the first corner in Saudi Arabia. When Max tried to overtake Oscar on the outside, as he did so often last year with Lando, the latter held his ground coldly. Oscar showed Max, I'm not Lando, you know. From that moment on, Max knew it would be a 50-50 duel. Meanwhile, Ralf Schumacher thinks McLaren will sooner rather than later have to conclude that the strict policy of driver equality will not lead to the 2025 driver's title. I'd like to wait a little longer, he told Sky Deutschland, but I think Piastri has been consistently at his best, except in Monaco, where perhaps a little more was expected from him. But I do think the World Championship will be decided internally before the summer break. If Norris continues to be behind Piastri and Max consistently exerts pressure, then at some point McLaren will have to pull the ripcord and say, okay, we need to concentrate on just one of them. I think it will happen soon because they don't want to lose the driver's title again. That would be incredible for McLaren this year. The constructors' title is in the bag, so let's just talk about the drivers now. Oh, I'm sorry, Ralph. I completely disagree with you. If you asked me that a few weeks ago, I'd have possibly agreed with that. But after Spain, things have changed. That gap between both of the McLaren drivers and Max Verstappen is so large. The gap between McLaren and now Ferrari in second place in the Constructors' Championship is a yawning chasm. No one is catching McLaren this year in 2025. Not a chance. No, nobody. Can't happen. It's impossible. You know, I really do think that. But in terms of the drivers, there's a big gap there now. So let them race. Let them race. You know, there's been no on-track battle between the two of them really this season. Not properly. Not properly anyway. There's not been a dicing duel between the two of them. The closest we came to that was Japan, Suzuka, over second place. And there was, you know, and they were respectful even then, you know. They were respectful even then. So there is no reason why they can't trust their drivers. If McLaren try and do team orders now and favour Piastri or favour Norris over one over the other, it will completely destroy the team dynamic. It will completely destroy the harmony between the two of them. Because right now, relatively speaking in Formula 1 terms, they are two lads, two mates, going out and racing. When you then put team orders in, it just becomes a job. You know what I mean? It just removes a bit of the fun from it. And I do understand it from a cold, kind of like you want the best possible result for the sponsors and all this and that, but you got to think about the long term. These two are signed up to McLaren for a long time now. You want these two drivers to stay in the team. They are clearly a very successful pairing. There is no reason why, and I'm talking massively in hypotheticals now, but in theory, there is no reason why Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri can't meet McLaren as teammates for the next 10 years. They'll only be in their mid-30s by then. They could go 15 years in Formula 1. Look how they'd have to go for another 20 years to be as old as Fernando Alonso is right now. You know, or near enough anyway. You know, near enough a 20-year gap between Alonso, who's 43, and Piastri, who's 24. That's a huge difference. So there's no reason why they can't compete in at McLaren for a long time yet. They've got the contracts to do so. They have the car to want to be able to do that. So you want to keep them happy. And keeping them happy is allowing them to race. I don't see why not. Your opinion in the comments below, guys. Do you agree with Ralf Schumacher? Do you think it's preferable to put some team orders in there just to ensure everything gets over the line? Or do you think the job's already done effectively? I think it's almost done. We've got a long season ahead, but I'd be absolutely stunned if one of the McLaren drivers don't win the championship from here. They have such an advantage in both championships. Your thoughts in the comments below are appreciated as always, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, and have a fantastic day wherever you're in the world today, guys. And we'll see you very soon.